Sorry, I am running late, everyone. Apologies. I'm about 27 minutes late. I had zero intentions on coming on a live stream to talk about the latest documentary. My goodness. The documentary that was posted highlighted Melissa Wolford, a woman who was murdered, and then her truck, and she was found like 7 days later. They never even bothered to take a report until her truck was found. That's why a lot of people around here don't have faith in the police. So let me just start off with that one. I kind of want to do a deep dive as to some of the same people who have been in power for decades, as well as the culture, why things are happening. We're just going to go over all of it. And I want to say, I already know what a bunch of people are thinking. You know, they didn't show the pretty parts of Phelps. Well, no. And there are some beautiful homes in Phelps. But, come on. Everyone already knows. Through the entire county has changed so much just within the past 5 years. You have people walking up and down hollers, people squatting on properties, being destructive. It didn't show the pretty parts, but I think it touched on the important aspects of what is going on in Phelps. How poverty has hit a new level within our county. I'm so very thankful that someone from out of town came in to do this interview. And this is an attack on the people that live there. It's about the reality that we're living in. Phelps isn't the same thriving community that it once was. And pretending otherwise that's insanity. It was built upon cold, hard work, on families that stuck together. When that disappeared, something replaced it. And it wasn't an opportunity. What rushed in was addiction. And let's stop dancing around Purdue Pharma and the pharmaceutical industry absolutely destroying this place. Continues to destroy this place. The hospital is so huge compared to the size of the town and the people that are here. And if you notice, the people have only gotten sicker and sicker. But that wasn't an accident. It wasn't just bad timing. Entire generations were hooked and are still hooked. Families are being broken, and while people are burying their loved ones, other people were figuring out how to make money from the fallout. Addiction didn't just hurt Eastern Kentucky. It became an industry. Okay? Let's make that very, very clear. A very profitable industry. And the good old boy system. That's where it all comes in at. People are acting shocked that certain names keep coming up. Now, I threw out the name Freddie Lewis because he was the one who made a post about how that documentary wasn't that bad. While pretty much kind of like making excuses, saying, oh, it comes with the homelessness, it comes with the drug use. If you all haven't figured it out by now, you guys aren't the right people to be in charge. Because you're not helping people, and you obviously don't have, you just have no disregard for people's lives. a mother crying, like weird. After this documentary was made, another woman was bound, tied up, and set on fire in the Phelps area. And that's not good. Doesn't reflect well, now does it? And there's a bunch of reasons why these things are happening, y'all. But everyone knows, they've heard the stories about these same players, Freddie Lewis, Ray Jones, all the same people who have been in charge, Brian Morris, the list goes on and on, all the way up to the judges. You don't end up this deep into corruption by accident, okay? You don't have drugs moving through jails. You don't have sexual misconduct quietly brushed to the side. You don't have people resigning instead of being charged. Mr. Freddie Lewis, from your health issues. Everybody remembers exactly what happened and how the Republican Party backed Freddie Lewis after he had to resign. And I really don't want to have to say it on a live. People can go through the comment section. It's deplorable. Because if you think the stuff that happened in Letcher County, where they were coercing women and using them, if you think that just happened in Letcher County, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, y'all. I'm so sorry. But it has happened in all of the surrounding counties. And it's not a secret. It's not a secret. It's very well known. And some of the stories are absolutely disgusting. Our judges and our lawyers are very well known for partying and doing drugs and whooping it up and cheating on their girlfriends and a bunch of stuff. I mean, having, Lord, honey, I wish I could spill all of the tea in this one video. But my point is not to come out here, slander, and discredit. But at this point, the amount of women who are dying and their lives are just being disregarded, bonds being lowered, murderers, pedophiles just walking around, literally moving pedophiles and murderers from LaGrange and housing them up on Elkhorn Creek at the old spa building. Yeah, you wonder why there's so many bad things going on? People were talking about starting a neighborhood watch because they were leaving the West Care facility that was up on Elkhorn Creek, creeping through people's homes and stealing and stuff. So, these rehabilitation centers, they're a large part of the problem, shuffling people from community to community that we don't know. But we're helping. We're helping. Tell you what they're helping. They're helping commit Medicaid fraud. Now let me just take it down a notch because I get emotional. Because I genuinely care about this community and the people in it. And sometimes I look at the Christians around here and I'm like, the culture, everything's backwards. And I love you guys. I really do. And I know there's a lot of great people in this community, but you've literally let evil run rampant here. And the fire and brimstone preaching that doesn't help. And also having preachers who don't really know the Bible preaching and doing peer support specialists, type stuff while sending dirty videos, that's not appropriate either. That's also making this area look really, really bad. My goodness. If you think that all of this stuff, the coercion and abuse and all of that silence just came out of Letcher County, no, it's in all of this region. Hal Rogers District. That's why these elections are so important. But what goes on behind the walls is deplorable, and And it spills straight back into our communities. And the missing and unsolved murders, you know, all while this is happening, people are missing, people are dead, their cases are going nowhere. Coming from Chicago and growing up around police officers, moving to this area and seeing how these police officers move, oh my gosh. It is just like, you all do whatever you want to. The training is it's pitiful. It's just as bad as the level of education that we have here, thanks to the unions that want to keep our kids in these public schools. Let me tell you, prisons that keep popping up, the one over by Floyd County, now there's one that they want to build by Letcher County, $300 million for a prison. You know why? Because that's the reading scores. Once they see the kids and their reading scores, and ours have been very low for the past while now, because I'm not even going to get into how corrupt some of these school board members are. I mean, it's all corrupt. It's all corrupt. That's all I can say. But people's cases are going nowhere. People are literally begging for answers, begging for help. And then you'll have people like me that go and try to help and end up almost losing their lives, and then the Kentucky State Police not doing nothing about it. Especially, say, like, somebody tried to steal my car because they beat someone to death and didn't know if they were alive or dead and needed to get out of there. And then they were reported, and then nothing was done, and that person went on to murder someone else, 1 week later? And they didn't do anything. Police know exactly who did it. There's a lot of useful idiots around here that are, you know, it's too suspicious to have so many confidential informants selling drugs around here, and people are just getting shuffled into these rehabilitation centers. It almost seems like a racketeering operation and a way to just like wipe out a large portion of the community, also while profiting. I don't know, but these lawyers and judges that are literally connected to people who are selling drugs. I mean, but the paper doesn't tell you this. It gets frustrating to watch people get bamboozled. And that's why these elections mean so much. That's why accountability means so much. Families are begging for answers, begging for help, and begging for someone, anyone, to care. And too often it feels like whether your life matters depends on who you are and who you know. And some people get murdered and the system barely blinks. Bell gets lowered, people walk free, and families are left to grieve in silence. At some point, you have to stop pretending it's normal. Like judges who repeatedly let violent people back into the streets, and then those people hurt people again. Like, shouldn't those judges be held accountable? Don't you think? If it was someone who murdered, let's say, you know, for instance, there's one case, someone shot this young man, and the guy just now went to jail for shooting this young man. And the murderer, and I will say murderer was bragging, writing horrible messages to the mother and everything. And it took an act of God just to get him behind bars. An act of God, I'm telling y'all. Like, they just let dangerous people out all the time. Like, and then people that need help, that need treatment, they're put into these rehabilitation facilities that are committing Medicaid fraud. Someone just died in one of our facilities right down the road, and I found a video of this man talking about it, and I was like, so you mean to tell me that they were already under FBI investigation, and then looking at the paperwork, and then realizing who owns that rehab, who they donate to, who's in on that rehab? Ray Jones, Greg May, Tim Robinson, you know, all of these players that also have, you know, connections to coroner's office, and people can die of medication and it can be covered up like that. I'm not saying that's what they did. I'm just saying, like, a lot of medical tyranny happens around here. Being forced to take shots in order to knock time off of your sentence. The FBI, like, should have completely shut down. Like, ARC needs to close every facility. Every facility. Period. Do you realize how much money has been made off of addiction here in Eastern Kentucky? These rehabilitation centers are pulling in Medicaid money while people inside the, like from my understanding, they make people sign up on food stamps. And then, like, the other day, the power went out here from that real bad windstorm. Well, it also went out down at ARC. And I caught wind that they have spoiled food that they're trying to feed the people that are in that facility. And a bunch of other stuff is going on down there. But I mean, when someone dies, it barely even gets mentioned. Well, news can't pick it up because they're being promoted by all of these, some of these men that I mentioned. And, we already know some of these facilities have been investigated for Medicaid fraud, and that's not a rumor, that's fact. And then after the fact, you've got politicians who are plugged in to this good old boy system, literally push forward bills to make it easier to commit Medicaid fraud. Philip Wheeler, shame on you. He's too busy worried about pictures and making movies and his political connections in Louisville. He doesn't care about Eastern Kentucky. Meanwhile, the community is left falling apart, you guys. It is falling apart. People know what they can get away with. Crime doesn't, it just goes unchecked. Homes get burned. Families get targeted. And the people who can't leave are the ones with deep roots here, and they're the ones that are left to pick up the pieces. And that's heartbreaking. And it's not about right versus left politically. It's about power. And it's about the same faces staying in control for decades, doing favors for one person while destroying another person and calling it how things work around here. Election season matters not because politicians suddenly care, because it might be the only leverage the regular people have left. So I really just, I employ everyone, please vote in the primaries. Our lives depend on it. Okay? Don't let familiarity, I can't talk. Don't let them fool you just because they're familiar. Don't confuse handshakes with integrity. And don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking what you're seeing isn't real. People are missing. People are dead. Families are grieving. Justice is not being served. And Eastern Kentucky deserves better than the silence and the fear dressed up as tradition. I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm not. You've got police running up in an innocent man's home in London and shooting him, and then, like, the mayor gets presented with an award, and he's, oh my gosh, it's just like, there's corruption, and then there's Kentucky corruption. They're two different things, I'm telling you. Never in my life would I have thought moving from Chicago down to this place that this would be more dangerous. And it's more dangerous because of the gang stalking tactics and how, like, if the people in power don't like you and they don't like the things that you're saying, like, they would use all of their connections and their webs, and where it's a small town and little accountability, like, they will target you to destroy your life in any way possible. Send bad people after you. It happens all day, every day. And we don't trust the police. The police are failing miserably. And what I've seen from the Kentucky State Police I mean, I could go into, you know, watching them kill my friends on four-wheelers right in front of my face, to breaking people's legs just because they're jealous. You know, letting their family members wild out, go on other people's property, and, you know, assault people, let them get away with it. Look at people, you know, who have mysteriously died and say, oh, you better not ask any questions unless you want to end up like them, you know. And this is not hearsay. It is really, really difficult to even participate in this community anymore, because half of the people don't realize what's going on. The other half are struggling, terrified, you know, dealing with a lot. A lot of people are losing loved ones one way or another. And we've got a mental health crisis going on. And that is from all of the dollar stores that have popped up, along with all of the drugs. But you tell me if you think that it was a wise decision to send inmates from LaGrange prison into the community. No, sending criminals here taught our criminals how to be even worse criminals. And they're just shuffling them through the state. Think about that. And then there's, I mean, like, not even, there's like zero investigations. Like, I know of people who have been a part of dismembering my friend's mother, and no one got in trouble for it at all. So I'm pissed off to see M.K. McKinney walk out of jail all because they got money. That pisses me off. There's so many things on a daily basis. It's hard for me to contain my ladylike composure. It really does. And if we were on a different platform where there was actual freedom of speech, you all would really hear me go off. But I would probably get flagged again. I probably wouldn't be allowed to do live streams. But I can tell you this, people are getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you know, it's like, you can only take so much. That's why this election season matters more than ever. And yeah, Freddie Lewis, shame on you for that pitiful post. It was very, very disgusting. There's people dying like, oh, it just comes with the homelessness. You know, you and your pals, Ray Jones, you all don't let anyone thrive in this community unless you all say so. The little Pike County Mafia. We know who you are. Y'all are evil. Like, this is spiritual warfare. Y'all are evil. Period. I think, I don't know, like, does anyone that is sitting here watching, do you all have any, like, questions for me? Mental health is definitely concerning, and it comes from your gut. Like, whenever you don't have, like, I have a problem eating the food here. Like, I'm starving to death right now. There's a couple of decent restaurants, but they all everything is the same. There are no options, and the quality of life and the quality of food is so poor. I get so excited every time that I get to travel away from here. I try to shop and bring back food from, like, Texas, Chicago. I'm not even playing, like, and stack up on food from other places than here, because it's so disgusting. Like, and now when you eat that, it definitely causes you to have, you know, depression, bipolar. Like, it affects your brain. Your gut biome does. You can look it up. And you know, the hospital continues to just, they want to write more prescription medication for everything. Blood pressure pill, heart medication. There's a pill for everything. But most of all, like, all we have are dollar stores and Suboxone clinics and some schools. There's nothing productive or positive for young people to do around here. At least when I was growing up, we had, skating ring, bowling ring, we had things to do. That's been stripped away along with a lot of the wealth. And it's always the same network of people that always get the same contracts with the city and with the state, and they've been enriching themselves for a very long time. I mean, these are just very well-known things, but y'all, like, they're coming in like Court TV, Netflix. You've got content creators on YouTube who are interested in what is going on in this little place, because it is like, it's an anomaly. It's definitely not normal. And you look over at Martin County, they still don't have clean water. Where's all the money? Like, if there was a forensic audit done, I'd say a lot of people who are running our cities would be in jail right now, and we could probably recover our economy. But until that day comes, what can you do? There's not much you can do. I've been trying to keep an eye on the scanners, listening out for my neighbors. It's very scary to see if Butterbean. But it's just very scary. Like, one of my biggest fears is that I'm going to hit somebody that's walking on the side of the road. Terrified. I would have ended up dead or in jail. Yes. And you know what is wild? People that you see that have problems living in this area, like, I can't breathe when I'm here. All of the chemtrails and stuff, like, I can't breathe. But when people leave from this area, they're healthier, and they seem to function normal. And that kind of lets you know that it's not the people, it's the environment that is toxic. It is the doctors, it is the people who we entrust within our government and our schools and stuff that are, wrecking everything. Have I thought about YouTube channel? I'm sure there's all kinds of people. Yes, I have, but I usually don't like to show my face. Like, I don't want to be an influencer, or, I just like to write. But, how many of them probably have? Oh, that's a really good question. The Masonic lodges. Someone told me, like, if I talked about it, like, I would probably get in trouble. Don't be talking about what I don't know about. But, yeah, a lot of them are a part of certain clubs and stuff. Like, if you want, put a Masonic sticker on the back of your vehicle, and I bet you don't get pulled over or have any problems whatsoever. It's very well known. Very well known. They've got statues with their names on it. Like, put the town in debt, and then I'm not even going to go there. I won't go there for now. But yeah, I remember when they first started spraying, people told me that I was crazy, but I wasn't. And everybody's very unhealthy. Everything's toxic. The situation from Ron Ferguson really helped open my eyes. Oh, yeah. Ron Ferguson, he was... I was really upset at the Pike County Judge Executive, because everything that I was having issues with kind of led back to him and all of his people. And that's what kind of brought me into politics. And I couldn't get any traction over here on Facebook, but I did over on X. What happened to Ron, like, Ray Jones is just mad because he's gay. And I think Ron said it out loud. He's got his little rainbow feelings hurt. I can't help that he is such a weak-minded man that he can block people from a government official website, which is, that's not, you're not allowed to do that. But this is the good old boy system. He just does whatever he wants to. We'll sit there and block you from the page and then have people like gang stalk and spy on everything that he's doing, knowing that this veteran is going through a mental health crisis. He's got neighbors blasting music. He begged Ray Jones for help. I mean, to watch it in real time and then see how they did him was absolutely heartbreaking. And it just shows you like how even our veterans get treated. So, yes. Well, everybody that I know, like my kids that all have snot nose right now, we came back from just like West Virginia. And after that, everyone got sick. Like everyone has gotten sick here. And I really don't think that it is just like from allergies. I feel like it's from, like, 'cause they spray us like, you go to Texas, you go to Chicago, Illinois, you go to Washington, D.C., they don't spray the skies like that here. Well, a lot of people spend their time being oblivious because on the outside, this place looks like the perfect, happy-go-lucky little place. And things really didn't start changing up until about 5 or 6 years ago. And it's plumb pitiful that, the population is shrinking and the main jobs around here are the hospital, pharmaceutical rep, or working at a rehabilitation facility. And then people that are working at some of these rehabilitation facilities, like, it's helping a little bit, but, like, they've all been indoctrinated. Nobody wants to, use actual treatment like Ibogaine that will heal people, like, including veterans who are suffering from, episodes. That could have helped Ron. That could have helped so many people around here. But they axed that idea. Because I guess there's millions. I don't think people quite understand how much money is being pushed on rehabilitation. It's almost like California with the homeless situation. They've spent billions to fix homelessness, and all it's done is create more homelessness. Like, that's basically what they're doing here in Kentucky. I don't know. I really was thankful to see that documentary about Phelps. I took an interest and went over there myself. You can talk to people, and people, it's a problem. It's a well-known problem. I went to Phelps and I talked to people, and they're scared. No one should have to pay taxes and be afraid. That is so sad. I'm so sorry, Brittany. I'll never understand how my mom's murderer could be released early due to good behavior and then become a very wealthy businessman owner and live an amazing life. Gotta love how Kentucky court system thinks. It's fine. Yeah, that's exactly how they think. It's shameful. They've got these hug a thug programs. Definitely doesn't make our communities any safer. Oh yeah, it's been going on for decades. Hi, Lindsay. No one but the residents care. Like, you'll see people barely talk about it, And those of us who have enough courage to speak up, we're just supposed keyboard warriors. But people need to be more vocal. You know, I have a lot of people that send me messages that want me to put out stories and stuff. More people need to speak up on their own, because there's more of us than there are of them. I'm just here to tell you. And if you think that there's nothing that we can do, no, we can. They're getting ready to go back. The state reps, they're getting ready to go back in session. Go down to the Capitol, hound them, get them to do something. There's got to be some type of prison reform or something, because we're ranking low in education, low in pretty much everything, and high in incarceration rates. That's not acceptable. No, there's a lot of pedophiles there's a lot of people that buy products, make pedophiles real rich. And then you end up dead if you talk about certain pedophiles in Elkhorn. That's just straight facts. Like the ibogaine treatment, apparently, I mean, it's being used for PTSD, traumatic brain injury, depression. Kentucky turned it down. Texas gave instantly. They were like, we want to help our veterans. Here's $50 million for research. So I'm going to do like a comparison on how that treatment does versus the Suboxone and the Sublocade and all of these medications that you have to continuously take. I don't see how it's, it almost seems like it's worse than Oxycontin. The Suboxone does. But it's bad. Yeah, definitely check it out. Brian Hubbard, he's been on a bunch of different podcasts. I think Arizona even picked up his treatment. I think they were going to allocate like 40 million abatement money from the pharmaceutical settlement, and they decided to do away with it. And the Attorney General Russell Coleman got rid of him, but he's great. And when you hear people who talk about their experience with ibogaine, apparently it only takes 1, maybe 2 treatments at the most, and people are healed. 10 years later, they don't even smoke cigarettes or anything. Yeah. So, but, yeah, people missing in Phelps. People are missing and dying. And I'm just here to tell you, the police, they don't care. They don't care. And you know me, I'm nosy. I want to know, why don't they care? They've been saying it for a long time. Just get rid of those. Nobody will believe you because you're a stupid dopehead. That's what I've heard people say. And it all kind of came out of nowhere. Multiple people saying multiple things. Things really did take a shift after COVID. And all of these people being shipped around that aren't from here. And then you've got a lot of people who are just allowed to, the way that the police are working with certain individuals, it's very insidious, if you ask me. And it's all about the money. Yes, it's all about the money and control. And it's, they're taking people's kids away. If you are allowing certain individuals to sell drugs, to catch other people, while you're just, taking taking money from, people I don't know, Tim Robinson, to, buying them gifts and shit, to, excuse my language, to push people through these rehabilitation centers. That's a bit, you're not supposed to do that. That's against the rules. But there are no rules for these people. There is not. So, and there's a lot of money in the rehabs. if you go through the drug court, like how many times these drug testing companies just in this area have been caught up, like for like doing urine tests. Edgewater got caught up for Medicaid fraud. Then they were talking crap to a police officer about their political connections, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they're going to jail for kiddie porn. That's the type of people that they have running these rehab facilities. Like, can we just like push a pause button and reconsider the way that we treat addiction? Because I can tell you right now, the way that things are set up, shuffling people throughout different communities and people getting stuck, and just all of it, it's destroying our communities. But it's making a lot of money for politicians to, get donations, if you know what I mean. I feel like I've ranted long enough, but the situation that's going on in Phelps, it's really sad. No one should have to get that phone call that their daughter's found up on a mountain, burned up somewhere. Their vehicle burned. I'm sorry. And it's not just that situation. Like, I had a friend that this kind of happened. I had a friend that this happened to. His name was Wes Hook. And they just like drug his body around and did awful things. And they're talking about letting the murderer go. That's not fair to his mother. That's not fair to me. I don't want to have to see this man that like murdered my friend in my face. You think that he's not going to be brazen and do something like that again? Like, look into the Wes Hook story. I knew that kid. He was a sweetheart. And what they've done to him is what they're continuing to do. It's just like, I don't know. Why are these meth goblins just allowed to steal, kill, murder, rape, pillage? I'm curious. Like, and it's like we're being left to defend our property on our, like, all on our own. Police aren't doing anything to keep us safe. What do you guys think we should do? Because, I'm thinking a neighborhood watch of, like, our own good old boys. What else do you do? Because, seems like, our police officers in Pikeville can't afford body cams, but we've got, like, flock cameras that we can put up to track and trace people. Yes, the churches are starting the rehabs. Yeah. Tax exempt. Not only that, but it's once you go into digging into these tax exempt churches, it gets a little difficult to track down money. So, but I know that a lot of the rehabs are attached to churches. They've got communities and using food stamps for their fancy, like, coffee shops and all kinds of stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. These rehabs are a racketeering operation, straight up. Like, that's the best way I could put it to you. You don't have no one, I don't see many people being helped. And the spiritual guidance from some of these preachers, I'm sorry, but I got saved in Texas. Like, I started going to an Eastern Orthodox church because the churches around here were not fulfilling what I needed, because everybody knows everyone and everything is politically involved. And you have some preachers who are a part of the Masonic club. Trust me, I know all too well. I've got children with people who are into that lifestyle. I don't fit in, obviously. But we'll just keep it short. Just know that I'm really disappointed in the Pikeville Republican Party for even propping up Freddie Lewis. And I know about what he does with his phone showing people pictures of his wife. That's not appropriate either. And he's also an adulterer. He cheated on her. Don't like him. What he did by impregnating women while they were in the jail. God, that's really bad. And then the drugs, the coercion, the same thing that's been basically going on in Letcher County. And like, y'all just let him resign and then backed him. That's why, like, I'm not a part of any political party. Like, I only go where I feel comfortable with real conservative Republicans or libertarians that aren't corrupt. And believe it or not, guys, there are some Kentucky politicians who are not corrupt. There are a lot of really good ones out there. You just gotta find them over on X. Keep them drugged up, a free place to live, and there's children living in tents and campers. Yeah. The conditions around here, it's really sad, especially after the flood. A lot of people were left homeless. Yeah, the Bible does warn against those snakes behind the pulp. So, guys, I hate to cut it short. It was so good. Thank you guys for participating, joining in on the conversation. I'm just worried because there's so many missing people and unsolved murders. There's a site, I think the last time we counted, there's like 100 for this little town. Yes, Bethany, you know all too well about Floyd County and how crooked they are. Like, people around here will murder you and steal your inheritance, point blank, period. Yep. And that's not a joke. They'll steal your land. They'll steal anything you got. If they know the right people and they want to take advantage of you, if you've got money, you can get anything done around here. And, you know, I would just like to see that our constitutional rights upheld for a change. But I digress. You all be kind, be polite. I love you. Be good or be good at it.